Hello there, Booktube. My name is Daniel. Welcome back to my channel, Guilty Feet. Open up my eager eyes, because I've got no rhythm. And today I'm going to do the cheekiest of book hauls, especially because two reasons. I said I'm not buying any books this year, and I just did a book haul when I was in Edinburgh. No good excuses, except I went out with my wife, went for a walk in our local town, and all these books were purchased here in Israel, which is unusual for me. Usually I buy books and send them to my mum in London or friends in New York or my friend in London who flies here, because paying for books in Israel is just usually a little bit more expensive, as in all non-English speaking countries. If you try and buy English speaking books, it's hard. But because of the town where I live has a large English-speaking population, there's a very good charity bookshop locally, and I went to visit there and found a whole bunch of books. Each of these books they charged me 15 shekel for, which is about just over £3, which is more or less what I would pay secondhand for books. So I'm very pleased with this purchase, not just because of the price, but also because I found some books that were kind of on my radar. I found books which were definitely on my radar, and I will take you through them all now very quickly. So first of all, I managed to pick up this copy of Happening by Annie Ernaux. I have not read any Annie Ernaux. She won the Nobel Prize a couple of years ago. I know there's a whole back catalogue of work that I want to get to, but this is a nice slim volume, under 100 pages. It's called Happening, and is, I think, autobiographical, talking about becoming pregnant 40 years ago and writing about it. And I'm just keen to dive in and get some Annie Ernaux under my belt and see if I want to dive in further. Or I should say this book is translated from the French by Tanya Leslie. And at under 100 pages, as soon as I get done with what I'm doing, this is something I can pick up very easily and polish off and add it, and therefore break my Ernaux duck. No duck is not a phrase I imagine has been heard too often. Okay, after that, I picked up this seemingly pristine copy of Intimacies by Katie Kitamura. This has also been on my radar for a while and never had a good reason to pick it up, but for 15 shekel, there's a little dotted, and that was in the charity shop, and I'm pretty sure someone's bought this and never read this, so very pleased to pick that up. This is the cover price would be £9.99 for this paperback, so I picked up for a third of that, and delighted to have that. Another book which was kind of on my radar, this is Crooked Letter by Tom Franklin, which Todd Goldberg, who is a writer, he runs, I think, an MFA program in LA, and he's also one of the co-presenters of the podcast Literary Disco, which is seems to be sort of on hiatus and comes back and then disappears again. But for a while they were putting out monthly episodes, and I was a big fan. Anyway, he's been raving about Crooked Letter for a while. I don't know much about it. I think it's a sort of gothic noir, but with a literary bent to it. So I'm keen to get to this just because it was on my radar. I think it might be in my basket in eBay, and I never pulled the trigger, but I saw a copy sitting there in front of me, 15 shekel, bought it. And then the last one is not, I don't think this really counts as a literary white whale because it's not something I've ever tried. For a long time it wasn't something I had considered reading, but they're just the weight of evidence that suggests to me that this is a fantastic book, and one that I would enjoy. I finally have picked up a copy of Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove. I have no particular love of westerns. I've never read anything by Larry McMurtry. Interestingly, one of a handful of people who won a Pulitzer Prize. He won a Pulitzer Prize in '86, I think, for Lonesome Dove, who has also won an Oscar. Larry McMurtry, whose movies adapted from his book, his work. So The Last Picture Show, Terms of Endearment, those have gone on and won Oscars, but he actually won an Oscar for a Best Adapted Screenplay, which he co-wrote with, I don't remember the name of the woman, for Brokeback Mountain. So Pulitzer Prize winner for fiction and Oscar winner Larry McMurtry. Never read it. This was the 25th anniversary edition. I think it's about 10 years ago. And yeah, a little bit of a spine roll, which I'm not thrilled about. That's a remainder mark if I don't miss my guess. I don't know whose possession this came into or when. But I picked this up. It's 800 pages, but my understanding is it's a fun read, and I will get to this probably sometime this year, I guess. Now, the next one was a real treat. As I was I found 4 books. As I was on my way out of the shop, I went past the crime and thriller section, and there they had a whole collection in a series of books by an author of whom I've read the first 4, and they are, one second, there, the first 4 in this series, and the series I'm talking about is Longmire, written by Craig Johnson. Now, how I got to the Longmire series by Craig Johnson was a few years ago. My wife and I were visiting Bath in England, and a shop there called Mr. B's Emporium, which is a fantastic independent bookstore. And one of the things they do is you pay a certain amount of money, and they do a book clinic where they will sit with you, listen to the kind of books you read, and make suggestions. And whatever you pay, if you buy the books, I think you get that off your so you pay £70, and then the first £70 worth of books that you buy is covered by what you've already paid for the book clinic. So it's just it's a fun. Anyway, we had a very small window. We were visiting Bath. I had written to them and asked them if I could sign up one of these book clinics, and they did not have a space for me, which was disappointing. When we went to visit the store, someone else was having their book clinic. They just do it in a couple of armchairs upstairs. The store's on 2 floors, and I listened in to all the books that were being recommended. And one of the series they were recommending to this person who must have expressed an interest in detective fiction or crime fiction or police procedurals, whatever it was the first in the series, or recommending the Longmire series. Now, these are a bugger to buy in the UK. These are, because it's very American. This Longmire it was made into a TV series, which I think ended up on Netflix, although I'm not sure it's still there. I haven't seen it, but it does have Starbuck in it. Anyway, they're very hard to find in the UK because they're so American. They're set in Wyoming. He's a sheriff. His best friend is a indigenous Native American, and it's sort of slow paced. But I've read the first 4. The crimes are real. The detective part of it is real. The humor is great. The family, they were just a great series. And for me to read 4 and want to read more but they're hard to find. They're published in these wonderful Penguin US editions only, and you can see the pricing on the back is only in Canadian and US dollars. They're not available in the UK, and to find them secondhand is hard, even though this is a well-loved. Anyway, the thing is, I walked into the shop. He had a whole bunch of them, including the next 4 that I need to read. So I've read 1 to 4, and I picked up 5, 6, 7, and 8. I've got The Dark Horse by Craig Johnson. I've got Junkyard Dogs by Craig Johnson. I've got Hell is Empty by Craig Johnson, and As the Crow Flies, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the Longmire series. I think there are a couple of in-betweens that were published as ebooks only. But just, I like to read crime fiction in between things, and this was a great pickup that I got the next 4 because I've been struggling to find. I didn't know if I was going to have to give up the series just because they were hard to find. And $16 for a new book is a lot, and then to have to get it from America to me here was so. Somebody in my local town was a Craig Johnson fan, but not so big a Craig Johnson fan that they didn't want to let them go when they were done with them. So I'm really pleased with that pickup. Then, so that was all from the charity store. Then we went from there to an actual bookshop, a first-hand bookshop. Steinmatzky's is the biggest chain in Israel, import of, it's mostly Hebrew language books, but, in different towns, it's so in big population in Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem, and where I live, they will have a modest to semi-impressive English language section of books. And the reason we went there is my wife had a voucher that she'd been given from work to spend in this particular chain. So picked up a couple of books. So I'll tell you the deal. They had 2 works of fiction for 109 shekel. If you bought 2 of any work of fiction, it's 109 shekel, which is just over £20, which is a lot to pay for a paperback book. But you only got the 109 shekel if you were a member of the club. And I think we'd been members, but elapsed, so we had to pay another 20 shekel to become members of the club. But then we had a 100 shekel voucher. So I got both these books for 30 shekel, another 15 shekel each. So again, £3 each for Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. I have never read Barbara Kingsolver, never read The Poison Word Bible, never read Lacuna. But on my radar for a while, the book's always a little bit chunky. And anyway, but this really has been given enough awards and enough praise that made me want to start. And I'm a big fan of David Copperfield. It's my favourite of the Dickens that I've read so far, and that's even as I'm struggling through Bleak House. I didn't struggle so much with David Copperfield, loved it. So looking forward to this, and also picked up this lovely airport edition of Victory City by Salman Rushdie, which is I've read the last several years of Rushdie's fiction as they come out, and hadn't got hold of this when it came out in hardback, but this is like a hardback size sort of airport edition, and got this also for the equivalent of 15 shekel, £3. So delighted with all those books. I shouldn't be buying books. I have so many to read. I've been stuck in Bleak House for 3+ weeks now, and really got 300 pages still to go on that. So hopefully when I get through that, I'll have another burst and do pick up some quick reads and just get back into momentum reading again. But that was my cheeky haul. Hope you're all doing well. God bless. Bye.